Hey everybody, Marty and Alanah here. Alanah, the PlayStation experience is here.
Yes.
We've experienced everything PlayStation.
The PlayStation.
We've experienced all of PlayStation. One of the things I got to play at the show that you got to play in Paris,
yes,
because you're a fancy world traveler, is Until Dawn Rush of Blood, which is the PSVR sort of standalone, I wouldn't even say side story or expansion to Until Dawn because
pretty
it
much
doesn't
unrelated.
really have anything to do with Until Dawn. So a bit of reference. You like Until Dawn.
I really like Until Dawn.
I adore Until Dawn. It's one of the most fun, kitschest horror games I've played in a long time. Mm-hmm. You have a really good Let's Play series with your mom.
I do.
Shout out to that. But this VR experience thing is a Rush of Blood takes place in like a messed up carnival, and it's an on-rail shooter. And to me, it just didn't really...
I mean, I feel like you're already overselling it. What I would call this is like an arcade roller coaster that you would like put 2 quarters in and have to shoot stuff with a friend, and it's inaccurate.
Yeah, that second part, yes, is a major problem. But yeah, the first part is just, it feels like House of the Dead.
Absolutely, and looks like House of the Dead.
It kind of looks like House of the Dead.
It looks awful. So this was announced, I think, during Sony's Paris Games Week press conference, and it was announced as a VR game for Until Dawn, which I was like...
Because that game's terrifying, and if like you do the super kitschy stuff,
and if you were doing it, it would have been amazing.
Yeah, and Until Dawn was originally positioned as a PS3 game that was going to use Move, and so I was like, oh man, this is going to get back to sort of what that like motion idea was, and it turns out it's like, no, you're on a roller coaster. It's a target shooting game, and you're using the Move wands, which aren't super accurate, and the only scares,
very floaty.
Yeah, the only scares I got were jump scares, and they were sort of unearned, like cheap jump scares.
Totally. There was one that I liked where the roller coaster ride just sort of stops at a point, and you're like, I don't know what I'm waiting for, and then I had this sudden sense of dread, and I'm like, okay, it's going to want me to look in a certain direction, and there's going to be a jump scare when I look there, and then it's going to let me keep going. But I mean, I liked that because I felt dread, but it's still cheap.
Yeah, it's still cheap, and it still feels
like
unearned.
Look to the left, and something will pop out, so you can continue.
No, I don't like that. And it reminded me, the only 2 like true horror VR things I've done are this, and then the kitchen demo. I don't know if you ever played that.
I haven't because I've been too scared, but I feel like comparing those 2 things is...
I'm comparing those 2 things in the fact that they are both classified, if they were at the video store, they'd both be in the horror section.
Sure.
But that's like comparing Halloween to Ghoulies 2.
Yeah,
and, Whereas the kitchen did amazing work with sound to where the kitchen, if you don't know, is just a demo where you're a person strapped to a chair and you're witnessing the scene happen in front of you where your friend is being murdered by this crazy, terrifying monster lady, and you can't really do anything, but you hear her behind you, and you're like, well, the scene's still going on, and I know I should probably turn around, but I really don't wanna. And this never really had that, and it was just sort of a bummer.
I feel like, I mean, it's just absolutely arcadey, you know, you're shooting things for points. Yeah. You shake the move controllers to reload your gun, and you're aiming at things. You have to duck underneath certain things. The whole thing, there's like a little scoreboard in front of you, and the scariness is exactly the same as a crappy arcade zombie shooter. Yeah. And I think what would make this fun is if you could play it 2-player VR with a friend. Good. Yeah, but it still looks like crap and has boring environments, and you have no real control over what's happening. But I feel like that would be slightly better than what it is right now.
Yeah, I agree.
It kind of dishonors Until Dawn, I think, a little bit as well. It's not related at all.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing is, like, we both love Supermassive, and we both love what they did with Until Dawn, and we are super stoked to see what they do next. That is
Except
probably after, well, next, it's every other syndrome. I don't think it's a real thing. Alanah, thank you so much. We're going to have a lot more on PlayStation VR and real spooky things at the PlayStation experience, such as clowns and light gun games that we just don't really enjoy. So stick around right here on IGN.